We're looking at page 28 of your workbook in this video tutorial, and I'm going to do the first couple of questions with you just to make sure that you understand what it's all about. First of all, we've got the 5 floors of a Japanese department store, starting over here with ikkai. Now remember, in Japanese, ikkai refers to the ground floor, not the first floor. Ikkai would be the ground floor, that's the first floor. Sankai, that's the second floor. Yonkai, the third floor. And gokai is the fourth floor in English. And on each floor, we've got a number of different objects. And we're going to have some questions down below, which we need to answer in Japanese. So let's have a look at the question types. Here are the first 4 questions underneath our diagram. Starting with number 1. Tokei wa doko ni arimasu ka? Okay, the first thing we do when we look at a sentence is just check the verb, and that tells us what kind of sentence we're dealing with. In this case, it's arimasu, which means to have or to exist. And it's got a ka on the end, so it means it's a question. So it's do you have or is there. Now in this kind of sentence, if you're going to mention the location, you need to include location particle ni. That tells you the location where the object is, where it exists. And this follows doko, which means where. So the final part of our question is, where is it? Where is it at? And then our sentence begins with our topic, marked by topic particle wa, and we are in fact talking about tokei, the clock. So tokei wa, as for the clock, doko ni, where at, arimasu ka, do you have it or is there? So if you put it together, where is the clock? Let's see how you would answer that question. Now the easiest way to answer any question is basically to copy the question, identify the question word, replace the question word with your answer, and remember to move the ka from the end of the sentence so it's no longer a question. So let's go through that process together. Okay, here I've simply copied the question. So tokei wa doko ni arimasu ka? Now the question word is this one here, doko, meaning where. So what we're going to do is we're going to just check where it is, and then we're going to replace doko with the answer to the question. So let's just move up to the diagram of the various floors and see if we can find tokei. Now here's the map of the department store, departo. We can see tokei. So tokei is on the 4th floor, which in Japanese is gokai. So there we have our answer, gokai. Okay, so tokei wa doko, where. We're going to now replace that with the answer, which is the 4th floor, and in Japanese, gokai. Okay, there we have it. So our sentence now goes, tokei wa, as for the clock, gokai ni, on the 4th floor, arimasu ka. Now it's still a question, so the last thing that we need to do is simply get rid of that ka. And there we have our correct answer. Tokei wa gokai ni arimasu. Now you don't actually have to repeat the topic when you answer a question because it's obvious that we're talking about the clock. So your answer could be as simple as gokai ni arimasu. It's on the 4th floor, or they are on the 4th floor. Let's have a look at the second question now. Shinbun wa doko desu ka? Shinbun is newspaper or newspapers. Wa, that's our topic. Doko desu ka? Where is it? Now this is a classic A is B sentence, only it's been turned into a question with the addition of ka on the end. Now A is B as a question becomes is A B. So let's have a look at what A is. Okay, so A is the shinbun or the newspapers, And the B part is doko, which is where. So newspapers are where. So it's another way of saying where are the newspapers. In the first question, it was also where are the clocks, but it was using the verb arimasu to exist rather than des, which simply means that something is. So two ways of saying the same thing. But to answer it, we're going to do exactly what we did in question 1. We're going to simply copy the question, figure out where the question word is, remove the ka at the end, replace the question word with the answer, and we're done. There's our departo, and we're looking for shimbun right there. So shimbun are nikai, or the first floor. Nikai, the second floor in Japanese, but in English it would be the first floor. So all we have to do is replace that question word where with nikai, get rid of the ka on the end, and we're done. Okay, there we have our question written out again. Shimbun wa doko desu ka? Now remember, we have to identify the question word, that's doko, that means where, and we're going to simply exchange it for the answer, which is the first floor, or nikai. Okay, so we now have shimbun wa nikai desu ka? And of course it's a question, and we don't want a question as our answer, so we need to remove the ka. And there we have our answer. Shimbun wa nikai desu. The newspaper is the second floor. So two different ways to ask the same kind of question and two different ways to answer it. And you'll always be safe if you take the structure of the question and you use that to structure or build your answer. Okay, you can do the rest more or less on your own now, I think, but there are just a couple of things to take note of. In question 3, enpitsu wa nankai ni arimasu ka? The question word in this case is not doko or where, but nankai or what floor. So again, you would simply exchange that for your answer, which would be the floor that it's on. So you'd actually put in your same answer as you would have with doko and doko. It's just an alternative way of asking where. So instead of where, they're asking what floor. In question number 4, sekken wa. Okay, that's asking about sekken, which is soap. And this time it's not what floor or where, it's nikai ni arimasu ka? So is it on the second floor? Now in this case, there is actually no question word, it's simply a yes or no. So if you think it is, you would say hai, yes, and repeat the question but without the ka on the end, so it becomes a statement. And if that is not the case, you would say iie, no, and then you would repeat the question, but you would change, obviously, nikai for the correct floor. Okay, see if you can do the rest on your own.